What's up, everybody? It's me, Alan, here at Garden Home Growlers for this week's episode of AT GHG beer tasting. And we're actually going to taste one beer and one fizzy wine today and give you a little bit of info about those two different styles because there's a lot of questions about those. So let's get started. Okay, so our first beer up today is the Stiegl Radler. And the Radler style is one that we get a lot of questions about. So before I talk about this specific beer, I want to talk about the style of Radler in general, along with its very closely related style, the Shandy. So a Radler is traditionally 50% lager or some kind of light beer, and then 50% grapefruit juice, grapefruit soda, some kind of citrus soda. And in its origin, that would have just been mixed in the glass. You would pour half a glass of a lager and then top it off with soda. Now the term Radler or Radler in German actually means bicyclist. So this beverage, the story goes, was originally created for bicyclists as a great mid-ride beverage, or there was even one pub owner in a small town that organized a giant bike ride that ended at his pub conveniently, and he was starting to run out of beer for all of the people that showed up, so he started cutting it with grapefruit soda to help stretch the beer a little bit farther. So what that does to the beer is makes it 2 to 2.5%, so it makes it very light, very drinkable. It's only half beer and then it's half soda. The style that is frequently shared in the same sentence, we'll say, is the Shandy. Now a Shandy is basically the same idea, but in general for me, I tend to think of a Radler as having grapefruit specifically, whereas a Shandy is more likely to have lemon. Now there's a little bit of debate about which style came from where. In general, it's pretty well agreed upon that Shandies came from England and Radler came from Germany. In general, they're both talking about a beer mixed with some other kind of juice or soda, around 50-50, sometimes 2 parts beer to 1 part soda, something along the lines. They're always very drinkable, very perfect for a hot summer day. So let's give the Stiegl Radler a taste. It's very opaque, can't really see through it. Kind of a grapefruit juice color, not like a ruby red grapefruit, but just sort of a deep yellow. And it smells a lot like a fresh squeezed grapefruit. Let's see, carbonation, whoop, spilling. Bubbles dissipate really, really quickly. That's to be expected with something that's got a lot of soda in it. It just smells like grapefruit. Doesn't have the bite of grapefruit juice or grapefruit soda that you can tell that there's grapefruit and a little bit of that tartness there, but it's actually really well balanced with the beer. In terms of the beer characteristics, I'm not really picking up any malt body or anything like that. I'm not picking up Pils malt, Pils aroma. I don't actually know specifically for this beer if it's just the traditional Stiegl lager that they use as the base, but I think that's probably a really safe guess. Oh, and to be clear, this beer, Stiegl premixes the lager and the soda inside the keg. So we're not mixing this in the glass or anything like that. The keg itself, the beer that comes out of that, is exactly the Radler that they want it to be. It basically tastes like you're drinking a easy drinking grapefruit juice. So not super tart, not super sour, not gonna make you do the sour face. Keeps it going down very, very easily. It's well carbonated. It's not overly carbonated or highly carbonated like a soda, so it doesn't make you feel really full really easy. And the citrus helps it go down really, really easy. So this is one of my favorite beers, along with another one that's very similar called the Schöfferhofer Grapefruit Hefeweizen that we'll also have over the summer. That one is a little less sweet and it tastes a little less like a soda, got a little more of the actual kind of beer character to it, but it's the very similar idea. So, on to the next beer. So fizzy wine is another type of beverage that we get a lot of questions about. This is from High Wheel Wine and Mead. Just kidding, they recently changed their name to High Wheel Fizzy Wine Company. Now you know. Out of Northeast Portland. This is the Raspberry Spiffy Fizzy Wine, which is a raspberry fizzy wine. So once again, before we talk about this specific beverage, let's talk about fizzy wine themselves. So I like to describe it as not actually wine. It isn't wine. That's sort of a name that they got required to call the beverage. So if one thinks about what a cider is, a hard cider is fermented apple juice. You with me so far? You ferment apple juice, you get hard cider, and you can flavor it with other things after that. If you look at wine, what is wine? Wine is fermented grape juice. We don't typically think about it as grape juice, but that's what it is. You squeeze grapes and you get juice out of it, and you ferment that. Just like with apples, you press apples and you get the juice, and you ferment that. So Fizzy wine isn't either of those things. It's if you take a different fruit variety, citrus fruit, and ferment that. So if you squeezed a bunch of lemons and fermented it, well, it's not really a cider because it's not apple juice, and it's not really a wine because it's not grapes. So what would you call that? For some reason, they ended up having to call it Fizzy wine. To me, a citrus cider would make a little bit more sense, I think, and a little more accurate to what it is. All of the High Wheel Fizzy wines are a variety of citrus base, and then they frequently have other juices added. Most of them are a lemon juice base. There's a couple that are a lime juice base and a couple that are a grapefruit juice base, but frequently it's primarily lemon juice. They ferment that out and then they can add some other flavors and other juices to it. I don't actually know 100% certain for the raspberry if it is just a lemon base and a raspberry added later. That's my guess, and I'll try to get confirmation on that. But I don't believe that they took raspberry juice and fermented that, because I'm not sure anybody actually makes or presses raspberries in those volumes. This is a seasonal release. They don't do it year round, but in total they've got around 24 flavors. A few core ones, some regular seasonals, and then some other kind of one-offs that they do here and there. So these are 6.8% alcohol. They're all 6.8%, and they've been a lot of fun. They are a gluten-free option. They are purely juice and vegetable based. So the aroma is kind of a vegetal, like plant aroma. A little bit of that kind of fruitiness, but I don't think smelling this that I would identify it as raspberry right off the bat, or lemon. It's a very nice pink color. This actually looks like a grapefruit juice color that I would think of. Very pink grapefruit. There's a lot of carbonation in it, but it doesn't have or hold much of a head, which again is to be expected of a citrus juice, and particularly fruit juice, not a beer. Lots of that raspberry tartness sensation on the palate as it's going down. Very bubbly, very carbonated, so it's got that effervescent feeling on the palate. And even going down, that's really, really nice. It keeps it nice and refreshing. Tartness from the lemon and the acidity in that I can still kind of feel lingering. It's like I just finished a lemon drop or ate a slice of lemon. And that's actually really nice and refreshing to have, right? It's kind of like, oh, okay. And the raspberry flavor is actually lingering quite nicely, like I just eat a raspberry candy or something like that. And it's like raspberries without all the seeds, right? There's no seeds in here, so you don't have to deal with those little seeds getting in your teeth. Exceptionally easy drinking. If you like raspberry, this is great. It's not overly sweet, but it's not overly tart either. It's right in the middle. I would say it's actually a little more on the dry side than the sweet side, which isn't the case with all the Fizzy wines that High Wheel makes. So this is kind of a nice balance to some of their other sweeter ones. And it's also backed off on the acidity or the tartness that some of the other ones experience. So once again, the beverages for today, the Stiegl Radler out of Austria, 2.5%, and the High Wheel Raspberry Spiffy Fizzy wine. We always keep one Fizzy wine on tap, so these are around all the time. The Radler we try to rotate through over the summer. So thanks for checking it out today, and I hope you get a chance to try one of these tasty beverages here or elsewhere around town. So cheers, and we'll see you soon.